Hey guys, you're watching Niech on YouTube, and you're about to learn how to make stream overlays. Welcome to the video, and today you're going to be learning how to make stream overlays with Photoshop. So we're going to basically learn the size of the face cam, basically minimizing space on a screen for a stream overlay, and not to make something very big and like space consuming, and you're gonna be learning how to make them I wouldn't say well, but you're gonna make them correct. So we're gonna start out with a simple top bar, and it doesn't have to be anything big, but I like to make my bars centered in the center of the screen. So we're gonna start off with a guide. So if you go to View, New Guide, and you click vertical, you just type in your position as 50%, you'll definitely get a 50% half and half guideline on your screen. So if you go View again and you click New Guide and you go to horizontal, type in 50% again, you'll get a horizontal 50% line, half and half, cutting your screen into 4 equal parts that we will be using. So I took a screenshot of BO3 gameplay and basically black and whited it out, and as simple as that, it got to be my backing, so I can reference off this of where everything needs to go on my stream overlay. So for the sake of this video, I will be using Obey's logo. I will be importing it after I make some of the stuff for it. Now, we're going to start off with this top bar, as I said before, and basically you just want to use the pen tool, make your anchor point, hold shift to make a straight line, and click. Now, that will make a straight line, and what you're going to do again is now go maybe a little bit under it, and you want to hold shift and click to make another anchor point on an angle, and do the same thing. You can end it around there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to make selection after you right click, and you're going to now want to make a new layer and fill that with white. What I'm going to be doing is using the marquee tool to cut off this layer so I can make this very symmetrical, and all I have to do is duplicate this layer and horizontally flip it, and there you go. I have 2 equal parts that I can center now in the center of my screen for my overlay. Now what I want to do now is import a backing that I have pre-made. If you guys do not have one, you guys can obviously check out another tutorial that I will be making on how to make backings. And I use backings for everything of my stream packages. So I basically start off with the backing, and the backing just basically finishes everything off by itself. So I'll go into the Obey folder that I have here, and I'll double click the backing that I've made that was blue. So basically this is the giant backing that I made at 720 by 1280, and basically all I have to do is import that over it, mask it with alt clicking over the layer, and you'll get this little box with an arrow, and you'll click it and it will mask over it. So you can move that around into what you like. Now what I'm going to do is make a new layer over the backing, make my white my foreground color, and I will simply just click around to get myself a nice highlight of blue by changing this to overlay, and you'll simply just get that. Now what we're going to do is now go under the layer, and you're going to click on the COD layer that I created, and you guys will create another layer and simply just do the same thing you did for the box. Not for the box, for the trapezoid that we made here, I guess you could say. Not going into geometry here, but that's typically what I made. So I will be going to make a straight line as usual, hold shift, go back down, and do the same exact thing. So you kind of want to make this as even as possible, and we're going to go with that. You want to fill this with white, and make that kind of your back bar to kind of give it like some space in there. You're going to add drop shadow to your layer 1, so it kind of feels like this layer is on top of your white layer and not connected to it. You're going to want to play around with it. Your size shouldn't really matter, but you kind of want to just play around with it until you feel comfortable, and then change your opacity to something that you enjoy. So I'm going to go play around with this really quick into something I like. Now with your layer 2, you're going to want to put a gradient. Gradients always help. They add a little bit more to your piece. So I'm going to add a simple automatic white and gray gradient. Adds a little bit more. I'm going to add the drop shadow as well. Now we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the white. We're going to create another layer, drag it under it, and we're going to create the same exact thing but very small under the white layer, and it will be a blue that we'll choose from one of the highlights that we made. So what we're gonna do now is you're gonna fill that, and it's gonna be with any color that you want at the moment. So I'm gonna command click since I'm on Mac. I believe it's control clicking if you are on Windows. So you're gonna make your black another color, and typically I want to do it something that's around the middle here and a little bit darker. So I mean I could probably go with something that's over here. And what you're going to do is, now that when you color picked, you're going to fill that in to make another color. Okay, so what you're going to do is add a drop shadow to that one as well, and basically check out what you have made at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to be importing a logo. If you do not have a logo, you can just use text. I'm going to find the Obey logo in one of my folders. It should be around here, client folder and logos. Okay, so my client's logo is in here. Now I need it to match the color scheme that we are going with. So right now I'm going to rasterize this layer since it is a photo, and we are going to break apart the logo. If you do have a piece by piece logo, my logo comes in pieces here, so we're definitely going to be piecing this logo a little bit. Okay, so what you're going to do is, since I'm piecing this logo, I'm basically just going to separate this little separated piece that's a part of the logo and make it into a new layer by layer via cutting it. Now, if I click this layer off and on, you will see that the layer is cut from the other layer, aka the logo, and you will not be really being a part of the logo until the end process of changing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click on your layer of your logo. I'm going to put a gradient just to match what I have on here. I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go to the layer I cut, and we are going to change the gradient to something else instead. I'm going to change this to something darker, maybe go to a dark blue, change that, and then we're going to go up here, change that to a lighter blue. What you're going to do now is, after you change that blue to a gradient, you will now Command E these together, and you can now name this logo. Drag that on top, and you will now add your drop shadow and kind of play around with it like I will be. Okay, so now that I've played around with my logo enough, I will make it smaller. And okay, well, you need to hold shift while using the box after transforming it, and place it to a point where it's not too big, not too small, but good enough to see your client's logo during the stream, even if pixelated. So I think I'm going to kind of match it up with what I have here, and kind of make my client's logo like this. That seems good enough for me, and I kind of like this, so we're going to go with that. So what we're going to do now is add a face cam, and the typical face cam size for a Logitech or any other webcam, if your client is using a video camera to record their face cam, it's obviously being 1280 by 720. So what we're going to do is go to our rectangle tool. We're going to click it. Click anywhere you want. Type in your width as 1280 and 720. That's your default size. And we are going to go and make it from the center. We're going to make this a little smaller by holding shift. Excuse me. and we will make it a decent size to the point where it won't take up as much space as possible, but it will take up a decent amount. So what you're going to do is, if you have these on the side, you will look for your properties of your box. You will change the black to a white at the moment just so you can see it. I usually change this around to like a 6 so you can see it a little bit better. And what you're going to do is duplicate what you have for the backing, straight on above the rectangle, move it around, and you'll basically just get something like this if you remask it over. What I do like to do is also either put the client's logo or name somewhere on there, so we'll duplicate the logo, drag it above the backing, and drag it down here to where we can get a smaller logo on the top of the face cam. Or maybe we can probably put him, yeah, we'll put it in the top of the face cam. Now, with this certain client, they do have sponsors, so I will add their sponsors right now with a thicker bar under the face, or under my logo-ish kind of. You want it to match up. For me, I want it to align with the logo. So basically, I will just rasterize my rectangle and fill it in. Sorry guys, I'm getting really dry throat, so I'm drinking something at the moment. Now what you're going to do is, now you're going to probably match up where you filled it in, and if it's not big enough, you'll make it to the size that you need it. I'm going to drag my logo down because I want it to match of what I have. So for the sake of this video, I will change my font to something that I have default. It's not a bad font, so we'll use it. Kenyan Coffee Regular is the font name, and we will type in Obey Alliance as my client, and we will change the text size to something smaller. Now, I'm going to use some spacing in between just to make something look decent. I think I'm actually going to change that to Obey on the side. And we're going to duplicate that with Command J. And we're going to type in Alliance on this side. And we will try to align these as much as possible to the point where it looks alright. These look evenly spaced. Now, I'm not going to show you where I'm going to be putting text or anything, but I will tell you guys that if you guys do want to put anything else on here, usually your Twitter will go up here. Your face cam is main if you have someone that needs a face cam, and stuff like that. Nothing's ever necessary in this tutorial other than just try to conserve space for your client if you are working with someone for stream graphics. And I hope this tutorial helped you. If it did, please leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.